independent analyst and co-editor of the media outlet Jadaliyya. He's joining us from the Netherlands. Mouin, thanks for being with us here on TRT World. From your vantage point in the Netherlands, I wonder if you can give us your opinion on how you think what's been happening in the past few days in the occupied territories has been covered by the media.
Well, I think if you look at the way the media has covered these issues, starting with the attempted seizure of Palestinian property in Sheikh Jarrah, then the growing demonstrations within Jerusalem, the Israeli assault on the Al-Aqsa Mosque on Laylat al-Qadr, and now this carnage in the Gaza Strip, I think it's fair to say that the media very consistently has given Israel the benefit of the doubt. It has accorded greater attention to Israel's narrative and justifications for its actions than to reality. And what we've also noticed, if you look at the human element, this story really only began to grab the headlines once Palestinians began shooting back. Having said that, there have also, I think, been significant improvements relative to coverage of this issue in previous years, and hopefully that will continue.
I mean, Mr. Rabbani, what do you put that down to? It's 2021 now. We've seen this conflict going on for decades, and are you still suggesting that there is some kind of bias among some Western media, I assume you mean when you say media?
Yes, I'm speaking primarily about Western media because you asked me to comment from my vantage point in the Netherlands. I think it's not my opinion that the media is biased. This has been demonstrated beyond any doubt in numerous studies. And you look at the way, for example, that Palestinians are portrayed, and you have to take into account also that the media very much tends to serve the broad interests of the states in which it operates. It's not a Soviet system, but nevertheless, for example, if you were to go back and look at the war in Iraq, the US and UK media overwhelmingly supported government policy until it all began to go wrong and helped them produce all kinds of fabrications about Iraq's purported weapons of mass destructions and so on. And here we're talking about states and governments that are not only very pro-Israeli, but have demonstrated themselves to have what can only be called an institutional disregard for Palestinian life. And that is often reflected in media coverage of this conflict, where the lives of one party are considered sacred and those of the other dispensable and often worthless.
And outside of that very real point, just describe further how pernicious that kind of coverage is, not just in the everyday lives of the Palestinian people, but of course how they're viewed by millions, billions around the world.
Well, that's precisely the issue, because of course the media plays a primary role in the formation of public opinion and also in public policy, especially where you have a democratic system like here in the Netherlands. And so I think the absence of balanced and accurate coverage of these issues is a real issue, because it does have an impact on both the public perception of what's going on. This idea that this is an equal conflict between two sides in which one is a state seeking to defend its security and the other is a gang of radical terrorists out with no purpose other than murder and mayhem. It does have an impact.
It certainly does. Okay, Mouin Rabbani, co-editor of Jadaliyya, appreciate your analysis, sir. Thanks for being with us.